Okay, so at the risk of being somewhat fickle here, I'm going to change my mind about what I'm bringing to the RC10 Talk Fall Brawl this coming weekend for the 2025 event. Um, it, my original goal was to be able to run all Losi at some race, and I figured this would be the right race to do it at, or at least to start, because it's the last race of the year for me. The next race I'll be able to do will be the Roostapalooza, if we get to do that again. That'll be in like April. So I'm looking at November, December, January, February, March. It's like 5, 6 months before I'll get to race again. And there's some new stuff that I got that I really want to try out, and I don't want to wait that long. So here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to run all Losi, or at least I'm going to try. Two-wheel drive, Losi XXCR, four-wheel drive, Losi XX4, stadium truck, XXTCR. So that part hasn't really changed. What's changed is the Y2K classes. So for Y2K stadium truck, last time I ran the RC10T3, and I was going to bring that this time. At least for open practice, I'm going to leave it home. And I'm going to bring the XXT Matt Francis 2 edition. I just recently got this. And I think it'll probably be nicer to drive than the T3. Not that the T3 is bad, but I kind of struggled with it a bit at the last race, and I don't know how much longer we're going to do Y2K Stadium Truck. It really depends on how much of a turnout we get. So if I don't run this now, and if we don't get a high enough turnout and we drop the class for next time, then I'll never have a chance to run it. So it's a big reason why one of many reasons why I'm going to run the triple XT for Y2K Stadium Truck. And then for Y2K Buggy, my top choice is the triple X CR, which is this buggy right here. I got this from a friend of mine. I purchased it back in, I think, July or June or several months ago. But he paints bodies professionally, and I said, okay, well, before you send it to me, I'll give you some extra money, and you can paint me a body for the chassis. So it took him a while because he had a big backlog and he had some other stuff to deal with, but he finally got around to it, shipped it out to me. It just showed up today, like 2 days before the race. So my original plan was to run my Kyosho RB Type R, that guy right there. But really I wanted to run this if I got a chance. So I had enough time to get this ready, put the electronics in, get all the alignment done, ride height, change the shock oil, everything. So a little risky to run it this weekend because I haven't run it before, but I think it should be okay. And again, this is another one of those cases where I think this will do better or handle better than that. So these are all of my front up options. I want to try to do all Losi. So I'm really looking forward to this. Now, if there's time during open practice, there's all this other stuff I want to try. Maybe not so much to run for the race, but at least to get some extra runtime with them. So the RB Type R being a good example. This is, if for whatever reason the triple XCR is disastrous, which I sincerely doubt it will be, I can run this. But really what I want to do is get a little bit more time with it to see if any of the changes I made since last time work okay. And I'm thinking of running this for the Roostapalooza next spring if we do that race, because that's like a loamier, bumpier surface, and I would benefit from having a heavier chassis. This RB Type R, even though it's kind of a thematic clone of the RC10 B3, it is heavier than the B3. And I ran the B2 last time into a buggy at that race, and it was kind of bouncing all over the place. So I figured, okay, if I run something with more mass, maybe that'll be better. So I want to bring this for practice, just do a couple laps, see how it does. And then kind of the same thing with the B2. I took the Hydro Drive out of this. I put the standard V2 slipper back in. I just want to play around with it a little bit just to see how it does. Really, I'm hoping to compare this to the Pro X, to the Double XCR, and I really should be deciding between those three, but I want to try to make the Double XCR work for me this weekend. And with the Pro X, I've run this a fair amount of times at Insanity RC and the various vintage events we've had so far. So I just want to bring it back because it's a pretty decent benchmark. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So I figure, if I have issues with the B2 or the XX, this would be my sort of known quantity. And once again, I've made a few changes, and I think it'll be a bit better this time. But this is also a buggy that's a bit heavier, kind of like the RB Type R. This has more mass than the B2 or the XX. So depending on how the track is, this could either be a good thing or a bad thing. And then for the Pro XRT, I've run the XX TCR a couple of times there, and I haven't had any reliability issues with it. It's worked fine. So I don't really plan to run this for the stadium truck class necessarily, but I want to get some extra time with it. I just changed I refreshed the shocks on it, so it has a nice fresh suspension on it. I went back to my old suspension geometry with it, so I want to double check that, make sure it's okay. And by the way, I mentioned last time with the Pro X, I did change with something with the rear hub carriers and the camera link positions. I really want to try that. So there's some kind of testing I want to do here, although not necessarily for the race. And then the backup to the XX4 will be the Laser ZXRR. I haven't run this in a number of years. Again, not necessarily planning to race it, although I do love running my Kyosho stuff. But I just want to get some time with it, get some more recent laps with it, and see how it does. I have, this has a locked center pulley, and I locked the front clicker on this as well. But it remains to be seen, depending on how I set the slipper, whether this will last the weekend compared to this. I might be able to push this a bit more aggressively into corners and out of corners. So we'll see. But again, this is more like if there's time during open practice on Saturday, I'll play with this stuff. But this is where the sort of focus of my efforts is going to be. I'm going to run all Losi, 5 classes, and I'm quite looking forward to it. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, before I go, I almost forgot, I didn't get to do any overview videos of these XXX and XXXT chassis. I do plan to do that after the race this weekend. I just haven't had time because I literally just got these things within the past few days, and I just got them sort of set up and ready to go. Okay, so thanks for watching.